All right, and welcome to this special edition episode of Hat Trick Sports Talk. Sorry we didn't record an episode on Friday. I was ill as a dog with a cold. Thankfully, not
I've
COVID.
never understood that. Like, what is that like phrase? Like,
was
ill
just
as
gonna
a
say
dog.
that.
Like, what have dogs ever done to other
So,
like I don't like dogs as much as cats, but like that's just mean to say, oh, ill as a dog. Like, what? Come on.
so, do you know the phrasing of? I don't know how to explain the phrase, but do you know like it's raining cats and dogs?
Yes.
It
Yeah,
has.
that's also weird.
I bet it has something to do with that, but it's like. Are dogs like usually tired? Like, aren't there some dog breeds that are
Okay.
normally like really? I mean, cats technically sleep most of the day too, so I
Yeah.
don't.
Oh, I get it. Because dogs, they do a lot of stuff. They get all hyped up and they get really tired and they fall asleep. And
Yeah,
I
I
guess.
guess, but you can also make that. Can you make that argument for
I mean-
cats? The resident cat person here, Brandon.
Cats kind of just like sleep and they wake up. And they sleep and they wake up and they sleep and they wake up. That's why it's called a cat nap. You take like a 30-minute nap, you wake up, you're like, woo, let's go.
That's a cat nap.
Take on the world.
What is the proper amount of this? We're so off topic to start the show. What's new?
Okay, so sick as a dog is a British phrase meaning vomiting.
Oh, I wasn't vomiting. I'm just saying
Okay.
that I was really
Because-
like messed up.
because apparently dogs eat so much crap.
Oh,
And stuff
yeah.
that they
Yeah.
just
Really? Well,
Yeah.
I wasn't vomiting.
Yeah, that
I just
sounds
had
about
the
right.
sniffles and like a cough and a sore throat.
Right.
Because they do. I take my dog to the beach and she like drinks salt water and then eats shells and then
It's
5
kinda
minutes later,
gross.
she's like,
Wait, then what's raining cats and dogs supposed to be?
I don't
It's just
know.
raining a lot. I don't know.
We're kind of off topic though.
We are.
No, we are. So yeah, I was sick with a cold. Thankfully, not COVID. It was just a cold. Have some sniffles, so I apologize for that. But other than that, I'm good. And I have some brain fog. Have you guys ever had brain fog?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
every day.
pleasant.
I
Every day.
had really bad
No.
I when I got my second COVID shot, the only thing that I really got from it was I got really bad fatigue.
Yeah.
And it was just like I've never really understood what the difference between just being tired and fatigued is. Let me tell you.
When you're
Being fa-
cold, when you have a cold,
Yeah.
you have it. When you have, yeah.
When you're
The vaccine.
fatigued, oh my goodness. There's definitely a difference between being tired and fatigued. When you're fatigued, it's like everything you do just takes a little bit extra effort and like
You're sluggish. You just feel sluggish.
Yes, and it kind of sucks. But
Yeah.
I mean, I would take that over at all the other symptoms of the
COVID.
second shot. But anyway, we're here to talk about the schedule.
Yes, we're here to talk about the NFL schedule release, one of our biggest days of the year. Let's get to it with. Can we start this with complaint culture? Because we have some complaints about the schedule, and I'm gonna start. I am not happy with most, if all, of the television networks, and I'm normally not happy with them in general when it comes to this. Mostly Fox, because Fox always puts Troy and Joe in the booth for Cowboys games, even though I do like them. I will say I do. I know you guys have differing opinions. But the one thing that I do not like about the schedule every year, and again, we've talked about this before. There's a reason why this team gets slotted in these slots. They make the most money. They have the most intrigue. They are technically a brand. They are America's team, the Dallas Cowboys. And guess what? To open up the season, instead of watching, how about Brady versus the Patriots? I haven't looked fully at the Bucs schedule. I'm sure there are many, many other games that were so much better than this one, but we got it. The Cowboys and the Bucs. Seriously, what? This is from a hardcore NFL fan perspective, this is the worst Thursday night game I could have asked for. It's so bad. It's like the NFL opening game is supposed to hype people up for the season. I ain't hyped for this game. Like, we're going to do a post show for it, and the Bucs are probably going to blow them out by 20. Like, honestly, what?
Not necessarily.
Are you guys intrigued at all with this opening night game? Because to me, I'm just not.
I mean, honestly, I could see this being a pretty high scoring, tight game. Just looking at I mean, just looking at Dallas's offense,
Their offensive
I mean-
line is trash.
Yeah, they don't have the offensive line they had. They don't even have like the offensive line they had last year. They lost their starting center. They just kind of, I don't know. My big reason for thinking this game is going to be a slaughter is because the Buccaneers bring back everybody.
They literally have all
it
22
probably
starters.
will be. I'm just saying I could see it being like a close, high-scoring game, but
The only thing that makes this game interesting from the Cowboys side is how they drafted, because I think their defense is going to hopefully be a lot better because they actually drafted correctly, as we talked about a couple weeks ago. But Dak, how healthy is he going to look? And I think that at least is going to be interesting because this season kind of really hinges on for the Cowboys to be competitive. It's all about Dak, right? It's all about who's at the quarterback position. That's Dak Prescott. How healthy will he even be for this game? I think he's ahead of schedule on rehab, but I'm not exactly sure.
they say he'll be good to go week
His
one.
same, be good to go. That's going to be interesting. But yeah, I don't like this game. And overall, I just don't like this Cowboys obsession. Again, I get it, brand. I get it for the casual fans. I get it that these networks make a lot of money off the Cowboys. But again, like the Cowboys can win 3 games and still be intriguing. And the only reason they were intriguing last year was because they were bad. And that's sometimes the case. The Cowboys are just intriguing because they're bad. And it probably be the case again this year.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I imagine they'll be a little better just, having Dak back. And then, of course, with some of their new additions on defense. But, I mean, let's be honest, it'll probably be a couple of years before that really starts to click,
Yeah.
just because of how many new guys there are. But, I mean, I thought Mike McCarthy was a strange hire. He didn't exactly prove me wrong last year, so we'll see. I mean, I'm sure they'll be competitive for the NFC East, but I mean, that doesn't really say a whole lot. Let's be real. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I understand why it's the opening because it's the defending Super Bowl team versus America's team. So, like I get it, but I mean, I agree. It's kind of dumb.
Do you guys think we need to remove the America's team title from the Cowboys? Is there any other team that deserves that title right now?
I don't really think any team should have it because I mean, there's never going to be a team that is like America's team that everybody loves, right? Because like even look at the Cowboys. It's like, yeah, they have a lot of fans, but the people that aren't fans of them hate them.
They're
Same
polarizing.
Yeah, I mean, same with the Patriots, Packers, Steelers, Seahawks, all these, good teams that have immense popularity. They're all like, they're all kind of controversial to say the least. So.
Brandon, you had a complaint about the Buck schedule before you go to your scheduled or the schedule makers complaint. You didn't really like how easy the schedule looked for the champs.
Yeah, I mean, they play super easy teams. And like, yeah, I guess it's like a cycle, so it's not really their fault, but still, it just seems, I mean, Shane said this earlier, it seems like every time the Super Bowl winning team has a schedule, they get all the easy teams. Like, they play a lot of easy teams.
The only primary interesting games here, maybe the Rams. Dolphins, I think, are definitely interesting. Washington I'm going to get to Washington. Washington has a super fun schedule. They're really interesting this year. The Colts are going to be fun. The Bills is the one game on their schedule that I'm most interested in. But other than that, Brandon, I think you're right. It is pretty bare bones.
I hope the Bills
Yeah.
demolish them. That'd be really funny.
And that's super late in the year. Like that's really late in the year.
Wait, when's Tampa's bye?
Let me see. It should show week 9, like right in the middle.
Okay. Could be worse, I guess.
Shane, what are your thoughts overall on like the last few years? I mean, you noticed this trend about these Super Bowl champs getting these, I guess, fairly easy schedules. Again, as Brandon said, it's not really anyone's fault. It's just sort of structured that way. But what are your overall thoughts of it the last few years?
Yeah, it's frustrating because you're supposed to kind of I guess the quota is that you win or you do really well, and then the next season you're supposed to get a schedule that shows why, a schedule that's tougher, and that usually is the case. But then you have, like, the last few years, you get Tampa scheduled this year pretty easy. I mean, there's really only like 3-4 games in there that are kind of like maybe hard for them.
There's like 2 or 3 that are must watch. Other than that,
Yeah, I mean, like,
New England's
I don't.
must watch, honestly, too.
Yeah, like LA could be tough, but I think they probably win. New England obviously is a must watch, but they probably beat New England. Miami could be interesting. I don't know. Depends on how they're
Colts
doing.
again, as I
Indy,
mentioned,
maybe.
and then Buffalo's the big dog.
Buffalo. Other than that, I mean, that's what, 3 games. So, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing for like Kansas City last year, right? They had, I mean, their schedule was same thing. It was just a cakewalk. Like the hardest game they had all year was Vegas in week 6 or whatever it was. Like,
Yeah, KC and Baltimore have some really tough games on their schedule this year,
yeah,
but we'll get to them in a bit.
yeah.
Other week 1 games here. Let's see. Other week 1 games. Brandon, give me your thoughts on Seahawks Colts.
So Seahawks Colts, I think it could go either way. I think it's either going to be like one or two. I think it's going to be one or two ways. I think it's either going to be a really bad game, which, let's be honest, it probably will be because week 1 games are not great for the Seahawks. But I also think that there's a very real possibility that the Seahawks could intercept the Colts a lot.
Yeah, Carson Wentz, yeah.
I don't know. Like, the Colts were getting good with Phillip Rivers, but Phillip Rivers is a lot better than Carson Wentz.
At least right now, I would say that.
They're very different.
How are they different in your mind, Shane?
Phillip Rivers and Carson Wentz.
Yeah, let's start with that first.
Well, I mean, the first
for the
obvious
Colts
thing,
system as well. By
Sure,
the way,
yeah.
Frank Reich.
Well, I mean, just looking at them as players, Wentz is obviously way more athletic, and I would say has a higher ceiling. However, Rivers was a lot more accurate and consistent. I feel like he distributed the ball a lot better than Wentz ever has. But like I said, I think Wentz has much more upside just because of the his athleticism and whatnot, and his ability to kind of improvise, which sometimes leads him into trouble, but that's a whole other thing. Um, and I mean, as far as that system, I think a guy like Wentz works better for them because I mean, if you think about it, they have a really solid offensive line, and not, in my opinion, not the best weapons. So, I mean, they're fine, but it's not, nothing necessarily special, in my opinion. And so I think you can take advantage of that good offensive line. You can do a lot of, kind of like a spread scheme, I think would work really well there, where you can do lots of RPOs, quarterback runs, which obviously Wentz is better for. So I think for me, it's more just a matter of being able to be consistent for those receivers. Just get out, some short, medium passes, not trying to do anything fancy, and committed a bunch of turnovers. And I'm hoping that's what they're going for. And we'll see. I mean, it's who knows, because obviously Frank Reich sees something in him.
I mean, he almost won the MVP with him in 17, right? So
right. So it makes sense that he would want him again. But we'll see. We will see. I think this game will be an interesting way to kind of see where he's at, because Seattle's defense is, I mean, say what you will about it, they're very unique. I think, just because of the way they use some of their players, especially a guy like Jamal Adams, and just the different kind of skill set they have all throughout that defense. So, yeah.
Jamal Adams makes them more of a firepower than you expect with Donovan, especially with losing Griffin as well. Brandon, do you agree with me that for the Colts to be a contender, a Super Bowl contender, a playoff contender, it's almost like a boomer bust for Carson Wentz, where it's like for them to be successful, Carson Wentz has to be successful, and if not, they might win max 6 games. If we get the Carson Wentz of last year, I feel like they win like 6 games.
If we get the Carson Wentz of last year, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to be able to win it just with like a running back,
Shane, your overall thoughts on that as well with the Colts?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just. Sorry, I just plugged in my laptop there. I think it's all really a matter of how they do end up using Wentz, because if they, I feel like after the last couple of years, the way he's been, you can't exactly. I don't think you can just take the reins off and let him play. You know what I mean? Because of how turnover prone he is and how inconsistent he is. So I think you definitely need to get him in a system where you basically have him just distribute and kind of, do his thing, and not necessarily like saying, like to Wilson or Rodgers, like, okay, go ahead, do whatever, or Mahomes, right? If they can do that, I think they could be successful. Perhaps a 10, 11 win team, or even 12. I mean, with that, with that defense, that offensive line, Jonathan Taylor's pretty good. But if they don't do that and we get last year's Wentz, I mean, they probably win, I'd say 7 or 8, just because, I mean, that defense is much better than Phillies and whatnot. So I think that helps them a little bit, but yeah.
Jets Panthers is the other game I want to highlight. Sam Darnold against his former team. Of course, Zach Wilson's going to be interesting to watch. Shane, you seem to be excited for this as well.
Oh yeah, because I mean Carolina's gonna blow them out. It's gonna be hilarious. Yeah, I mean, like, look, I'm not, as you guys know, I've said it a million times. I'm not big on Sam Darnold, but I am absolutely rooting for him because, especially in this game, because the, like I said, the Jets basically replaced him with a younger version of him. So if you ask me, at least, and which to me is just a giant middle finger to Sam Darnold. So I want him to go to Carolina and do really well, just to stick it to him. But yeah, I mean, like Jets, even if Zach Wilson is great, they're gonna they're gonna struggle this year. They just
They're gonna have
to.
some growing pains for a couple more years under.
Oh yeah, I mean at least 2 years, I would say, because Robert Saleh is obviously an amazing defensive coach, but I don't know if he can coach offense. I mean, like I mean, I assume he'll be fine, but who knows? I mean, that's it seems like offensive coaches have an easier time going to defense or like as head coaches than defensive coaches do kind of adapting to offense as head coaches, just in recent years at least. So that's kind of a interesting thing to think about as well. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like at this point, I kind of wish they would have just stuck with Darnold, but if they wanted a guy like Zach Wilson, but yeah, whatever.
Before we get to the Browns and the Chiefs, which is another game I want to highlight in the 1:00 slate, let's talk about the Packers and the Saints. Brandon, if Aaron Rodgers plays this game in a Green Bay Packers uniform, what does that mean for the Packers? What does that mean for their relationship if number 12 starts for the Packers in this game in New Orleans?
Well, it's simply not going to happen. I mean,
you just don't think it's going to happen at all.
I will eat my shoe if this happens. Like, I will actually, on camera, take a knife, cut up my shoe, and take a bite and go, that's some good shoe.
That's my favorite Brennan quote.
Yo,
I will eat my shoe because here's
Brandon,
the thing.
Can we give you some like really spicy wings?
Sure.
Let's do that.
I'll have some very
put some Tapatio on there and
sure, go ahead. Because there is I repeat, no way Aaron Rodgers is playing for the Packers this season.
So week 1, he will not be in a Packers uniform.
In fact, I believe Aaron Rodgers come June 1st is flying his way to Denver.
To this game right here.
And you know why I think he's going to Denver? Because his fiance is from Denver.
No, she's not.
Yes, she is.
She is from
Look
Denver?
it up.
Okay, I'm looking it up.
Look it up.
Jalen Woodley.
But here's what I've heard though about. This is just speculation.
Oh, okay, so she was born in San Diego, but she lives in Denver. At least that's what I've heard.
No, she's from LA.
Right, she's from LA, but she lives in the Denver area. My point is, he has expressed interest in going the West Coast way, and the closest team that's possible that could get him is Denver.
So a quick update with the Packers in that situation. The most appealing and interesting update is the Packers literally offered him a contract extension this week.
Yeah, he's not gonna.
Which I don't even think he even did anything with.
So what I've heard, and this is rumors from higher up people, like reporters, whatever, is that they offered. So the Packers offered Aaron Rodgers, it says, a deal larger than that of Mahomes per year.
Okay. So basically 40-some mil.
Yeah, but the thing is, here's the thing.
No, like that'd be
the issue
like
is not.
Plus. Damn.
Yeah, but the issue is not money for him.
No, the issue is not money for him at all. He doesn't
care.
I don't think so.
At this point, the issue is they have been so disrespectful to him when he has literally been the only thing holding that franchise afloat.
And getting to NFC title games and winning a Super Bowl.
I mean, yes, he hasn't won any of his NFC title games.
But he's gotten to them.
I mean, he's gotten to them. He's played atrociously. I mean, his QBR has been trash. But he's gotten there.
He's gotten there. And that has some value in this case.
I honestly think the Packers this year are going to try their hardest to keep Aaron and force him to play until next year, until they can draft someone better. But here's the thing, Aaron Rodgers, they can't force him to play.
Jordan Love? Wait, are we eliminating Jordan Love?
I mean, Jordan Love. Dude, Jordan Love sucks.
They have Blake Bortles. They're fine.
Yeah, they just picked up Blake Bortles.
They have Blake Bortles. They're fine.
So here's the thing.
Yeah, sure.
Here's the thing that I kind of don't understand. So you draft Jordan Love. Apparently that wasn't LaFleur's prerogative. Apparently it was Gutekunst, I think.
Well, maybe there's a reason Rodgers is saying you should fire the
Gutekunst.
GM.
Fire Gutekunst.
This guy sounds like he sucks. Like,
I don't necessarily think that Rodgers and LaFleur are butting heads. I think it's more
Gutekunst.
No, I don't think they're butting heads because they actually seem like because if you remember, Rodgers had a say in who they hired.
Yeah, no, but I think it really is Gutekunst.
Yeah,
Gutekunst is the problem.
I mean, he's. I'm sorry, no logical GM who's any good at his job, who has been told straight up, get me a wide receiver of decent talent.
In 2 draft classes
or
that had
I'm
the
leaving.
Best receivers, and they just picked up Amari Rodgers, and that's
and 2 drafts in a row.
They just had Amari Rodgers. That's all they got.
They get a quarterback and defensive players in the first round and second round.
Right. And now they finally got Amari Rodgers in the third. Finally.
They pass on all these pretty good wide receivers. Nothing.
Yeah. No, I think it's a real thing. But I really do believe it is Gutekunst. And I think Gutekunst had something to do with the Love pick. I don't think it was LaFleur. But again, like them picking up Blake Bortles, saying they're going to try out a bunch of veterans again, ending up with Bortles, and offering Rodgers this massive rumored extension, they do not trust Jordan Love at all. They just don't think he's ready. And they even said this week, Gutekunst said this week he needs development. I'm like, okay. Really? Okay. He needs a lot more development. That was not the original plan for Jordan Love.
I mean, there's no way their original plan was for Jordan. I truly believed when they drafted him that their plan was
sit him for 3 years?
Yeah.
Then that's such a stupid first-round pick if you're just going to sit him for 3 years.
Well, yeah. I mean, he wasn't ready to play.
I'm not saying he was ready this year, but he wasn't. One of the things that I hated was that he wasn't active for every single game this year. He wasn't even active for one. But I also
because it'd be better just not to have a backup than play him.
I think who was their backup last year? Whoever that was, but
Brett Hundley?
No, yeah. Hundley was in Arizona.
Oh, really?
That's right. Wait, who was it then? Tim Boyle.
It was Boyle. Yeah, Boyle.
Yeah, that's right.
But it's like he was inactive for the entire year, which I thought was ridiculous. But I thought the plan was, hey, we're going to trade Rodgers this offseason, and then we're going to start Jordan Love. Now the plan is Blake Bortles? That's your backup plan? What? What are we doing? The Packers are in panic mode, and it's kind of fun to watch, but it's also horrible.
Yeah, I got to be honest. I don't think it's kind of interesting. I think there are two teams currently that nobody likes except for their fan base, and that's the Packers and the Cowboys. Like, only their fan bases like those teams. Everybody else thinks they're just like the worst.
I think it's for the Packers, it's mostly the management, and then the Cowboys is just because of the brand.
Well, no, I'm sorry, but like the Packers, I've talked like there are a lot of people who I've heard who are fans of many different teams but everybody has one commonality in that they think the Packers are just the worst. And I think a lot of people are going to enjoy seeing the Packers go down in a ball of fire.
If Blake Bortles starts this game,
oh boy,
oh my God,
that'll be entertaining. Not gonna lie.
We're gonna be watching Red Zone, enjoying that. Jameis Winston versus Blake Bortles. Heck
Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
Or Taysom Hill. One of the other.
Oh boy, I don't know.
That'll be interesting.
Let's get to a much better quarterback competition in Baker Mayfield versus Patrick Mahomes. Shane, you have been hyping up the Browns. You feel like they're a real contender. Why?
Well, I mean, quite simply, they were. I wouldn't say they were a Super Bowl contender last year, but they were close. I would say. I mean, they did go 11-5. They won a playoff game. That's pretty good. Almost beat Kansas City at home in the divisional round. Also pretty good. To me, they just, I think, needed a little boost in the secondary, which they got.
Newsome, yeah.
And on top of that, they also improved their front seven a little bit, which they didn't really need to, but I mean, they did. So on top of that, you got top 3 offensive line, Jarvis Landry, really
Odell's
good receiver.
back.
Oh, he is back. Okay,
He's
well,
back.
I mean,
He'll be back.
That could be good or bad. I don't know.
I don't know. It's probably more bad than good, but we'll find out.
Yeah. Regardless, I still got Jarvis.
Austin Hooper, the two big
yep.
running backs.
And then 2 great running backs. And Baker, who I don't love Baker, but I mean, I think he works for what they're doing.
If he has a good year, that he has the potential to have a good year this year. He does.
Yeah. I think him and Stefanski, I think they work fine enough. I mean, for me, it's I honestly I kind of see this being like a McVay Goff situation where it's like they look okay for right now, but then after a few years, you kind of remember it's like, oh yeah, this guy actually sucks. Like, so. Anyways, but for right now, I think he works. So, I mean, I think that. I mean, Kansas City obviously has the better quarterback, but and the better, tight end, receiver, whatnot. But I mean, outside of that, I think Cleveland is definitely a more complete team than Kansas City. Yet we're over here hyping up Kansas City, or not us, but people are.
I mean, it's KC. Like they're not even. I'm honest. They have a bunch of really good games that we'll talk about, but they're not really a discussion point for schedule release night because we know what they are.
Yeah,
like we just know what they are.
Yeah,
they're a mid-level defense, potentially worse this year, and a great offense. We just know what they are.
Yeah, probably a little worse, but regardless, yeah. I mean, I think as long as Baker can, he doesn't even need to play amazing. He just needs to keep him afloat. He just needs to keep up. That's it. And they can honestly be a Super Bowl contender, in my opinion, just because of how complete they are. The coaching staff is much more capable now. I think that's pretty clear to see. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I really like where they're going, though. That's definitely a game I'll be watching for on opening day.
Brandon, your thoughts on the Rams? Of course, it's Andy Dalton, presumably Andy Dalton, but of course Matthew Stafford as well. Stafford's expectations for the Rams.
I'm kind of waiting to see what happens with the Rams and see how Stafford fits in. He could be good. He could be bad. He could be in between. I don't know. I feel like I don't know if I can really say that he has like hugely better wide receivers at the Rams. I think he has better.
He can make them better. He can make
them
better.
The wide receivers he has, I think, are better than the ones he had with the
kneecap
Lions. But yeah, the kneecap team. But I don't know. I don't think I would say they're like exceedingly better, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think the Rams will beat the Bears.
And then lastly, before we, well, I know we spent a lot of time on week 1, but hey, it is week 1. Lastly, Shane, where do you think John Gruden and Derek Carr are at right now?
I don't know. I don't know. It's John Gruden is such a hard person to like
Reed.
Yeah. You took the words right out of my mouth there.
Sorry.
No. Just because like he's very impulsive. You know, he really makes decisions just on the fly based on instinct, however he's feeling, and not necessarily by logic. So with that being said, you know, I could see him being like, "Oh, Derek Carr is amazing right now," and then tomorrow morning going, "Oh, he sucks. Get me Mariota, damn it," you know. And so I don't know. I mean, it doesn't. They weren't, from what I know, they weren't making like big off-season moves to try and get a quarterback. Maybe they were, and I'm just out of the loop. So I
They
guess
were
that's
at the beginning of this whole trade saga with all these QBs, and then it sort of fizzled out.
well. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's kind of a good sign, but like, I mean, again, I don't like. I don't know. I mean, I would. I mean, if I'm John Gruden, I'd be happy with Derek Carr because I think he's pretty good, but he probably feels differently because I guess uh because it's John Gruden and he never knows what he wants. So I don't know. I mean, he has, I think, too much power in that organization. So
100 million, 10 years. Yeah.
yeah, so it's, I don't know. It's weird. I don't think he's like over the moon with him, but he's like, okay, it'll work for right now, whatever.
I want to continue complaint corner because I have a second complaint. But Brandon, what is your issue with the actual schedule makers?
Oh, it's just, you know, like they, I don't know. I don't know if it's really their fault, but it's the fact that like they always, it's the fact that the good teams always end up with like easy schedules.
Right. So we kind of talk about that with the champs as well. So yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know because I feel like this year we'll get to some individual schedules, but I think you are in some ways right. My second complaint, goddamn Thursday Night Football. Honestly, man, like,
Yeah.
bro. I mean, yeah, I like Washington, but the Giants. I mean, look, maybe this is going to be interesting just because we're talking about Daniel Jones and all that, but this TNF schedule, man. Really? Like, even the Fox games are not even that interesting.
I do think New York and Washington will improve slightly this year.
Okay, seriously,
lot, just slightly.
NFL Network for the first, I mean, that's expected. It's NFL Network. They're not necessarily going to put top-notch games on there. But Panthers, Texans, presumably with no Deshaun Watson. Jags, Bengals, fun.
Oh.
Fun.
Well,
like
actually,
Trevor Lawrence.
I don't know.
I mean,
Burrow
that's
versus Lawrence is interesting,
okay.
I guess. But
Rams Seahawks is a perfect way to start the Fox schedule. I mean,
that's good.
And then of course we got Jets Falcons in London, so that doesn't count, but that should be interesting.
So that's a question right there. Like, how's that gonna work? Like,
how's the London games gonna work?
In
I have
London
no clue.
During COVID?
I have no clue how that's gonna work.
I mean, I guess they're assuming that they're betting on COVID, like kind of winding down a bit.
Yeah, or else they're gonna move it.
Well, and I mean, it's like, I mean, think about it. It's, you got NFL guys coming over. It's going to be a lot of money. You know, Boris Johnson might be like, it's fine. Bring him over.
Yeah, probably.
You know, I mean, really, let's be real here.
I mean, honestly,
That's
this
his name, right? Boris Johnson?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Honestly, what Cowboys Saints? Actually, to be fair, they actually do play some fun Thursday night games. Chiefs Chargers week 15 is probably the only one on here that really piques my interest.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I don't
That's
know.
gonna be fun.
Niners Titans might be interesting because by that point we might have what's his face?
Trey Lance.
Yeah, he might be playing by that point.
Probably Garoppolo's gonna get hurt the first month.
As he does.
Browns Packers, I guess, again, pending that. Colts Cardinals. So safe to assume it's another bad year of TNF games. Again, not much of a surprise, but it is annoying, I will say.
Very annoying.
I mean, I get it, NFL Network, like, sure, you don't have to put like crazy games on there, but like even the Fox schedule is like, ugh. Let's see here. We've talked about a few of these teams. Anything? Not much at the 10 o'clock. Bills Dolphins, actually, Brandon. I'll talk to you about those two teams. The Bills were your team last year that you really hyped up on our schedule release show, and they ended up making the AFC title game. Are the Dolphins that team for you this year?
Yeah, I think that I don't know. Like, I really thought the Dolphins were going to do it last year. I thought they were going to make the playoffs. I think it's either going to be the Dolphins or the Bills who win their division.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be really close. I think it's going to be hard fought. I think the Patriots will be better, but I don't think it'll be back to where they were, you know.
Shane, how many weeks do you give Cam Newton before Mac Jones plays?
Probably.
If I give you over under 7.5.
When's? Can I see New England's schedule?
Mm-hmm.
I think that'll probably give me a better idea, because like, it kind of depends on a few factors. First of all, when's their bye? Second of all, when do they have, harder opponents, I guess. A bunch of factors like that. I mean, and this is assuming that Cam stays healthy, but okay. I could see
If I give you over under, let's be fair and say 8. Week 8.
Honestly, I could see week 5, honestly. I could see Mac Jones going in. And here's why. Look at the game right before week 5.
Tampa on national TV on NBC Sunday night.
So if they are humiliated at home by Brady and Gronk, their former guys, you think Belichick's just going to sit around and be all right with that and go,
on
Cam,
national TV?
Yeah, and go, yeah, Cam, you're good,
No.
Or is he going to look ahead and go, oh, we got Houston. This is an easy game. Let's throw Mac in there, see what he does. I could very easily see that being when it happens.
Yeah.
Assuming that game goes like that. But if it doesn't, and, that scenario doesn't play out, then maybe, yeah, about week 7, 8.
Their bye week is week 14, so
yeah, it
deep bye week.
I mean, I doubt Cam's gonna be playing that long.
I kind of want to know if Belichick's even going to shake Brady's hand after the game.
Oh, then we're gonna have a long discussion about that, like right after for the post show that week.
I mean,
I'm certain.
I know Brady and Kraft are like gonna kiss and make out, but
Yeah, they're going to like get it on in the
But-
middle of the field.
but Brady and Belichick, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, probably. Well, I don't know.
You sure about that?
Yeah, I don't know, because
I think it
I'd
might be one of
probably-
those. I think it might be one of those like
probably.
really tense, like two-handed handshake things, like Macho Man Alpha like handshakes, just like looking into each other's eyes, like I don't need you anymore.
Do you feel like they both have a lot more mutual respect for each other now that they're not together anymore?
Well,
I
I think
think-
they liked each other a lot when they were together.
I think they did. Well, I don't know. They both seem so much happier though now that they're gone. Like,
Yeah, no,
It's-
they
it's-
do.
It's
Like-
honestly kind of like a divorce.
I don't know.
It is
I
a
feel like
divorce. They were in
I
a
mean-
marriage for 20 years.
And now they're
Here's the
happy because
thing.
they're divorced.
they might like they. I think
Brady
they
won the
did.
divorce already. We know
He
that.
really
I
did.
mean, I think they did like each other, like earlier on. But in the last,
4 years.
yeah, I was gonna say like 3-4 years. I don't think they were really on the same page. I mean, you could just kind of tell they both just seem to get increasingly grumpy, and now that
Yeah.
they've parted ways, they're both a lot happier. It seems like than they were in
yeah.
the past.
I think
There's,
Brady
like- Yeah, go ahead.
Brady took the house, car, and the talent in the divorce.
He won the settlement.
Yeah,
But then Belichick got the dog.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
he
was gonna
like,
say.
all right, this is fine.
I gotta say the way he was looking at his dog in the draft last year,
Even this year was
I-
great.
Yeah, I had a thought
Yeah,
there where I was like, is this how he looked at Brady in the early days? Just like, yes, here's my pupil.
Yes,
like-
here's my guy.
He will sit for me like a dog because he's Tom Brady, and
He won't be as sick as a dog, but he'll be.
Yeah.
but he'll sit for me because he's Tom Brady and he's all sorts of whipped.
Because like I mean, thinking about the handshake, right? Like I feel like they will because there's a history there. I mean,
A
good or
great
bad,
history.
good or bad, they accomplished a lot together. I feel like that's obviously never gonna go away, and they they both know that they're the best like at what they do. I mean, they know it about each other, and so they're not, Brady always, he never shakes hands after he loses. The only time he doesn't shake hands is if he loses.
Or puts up the 4.
Yeah. See,
Right,
that's
but
what I want to
he-
see more. I want to
He
see
only put up
Brady.
a 4.
I want to see Brady lose to Belichick and then have to shake his hand.
No, because he only shakes hands after he wins or he loses to somebody that he respects.
Right.
Like
Mahomes
Um,
or
like Mahomes, even though he lost, he still went, and he's like, okay, well but like when he lost to
Chicago.
Nick Foles,
Oh yeah.
he was like, ugh, no.
He's like, nah.
4. I screwed up with the 4. I'm done.
Or
That-
Drew Brees, he kind of like trudges over. He's like, okay, good game.
Oh, they did talk after that game, that last week. That.
Well,
game.
yeah, but Brady won that one.
He's like a sullen child.
Oh my
Or
God.
It's like his parents tell him to go shake. It's like when you're in sports and you play a sport when you're young and you lose and you don't want to like shake the other team's hand, but your parents are like, be a good sport, go shake their
Tom,
hand.
Go over there.
Yeah, exactly. Thomas Brady, go shake their hand.
Giselle's like, Tom, you go over there.
Exactly.
now." He's like,
Yo,
Go
is
over
that-
there.
is that gonna be another? Is this gonna be another year of those topics of just like guys who don't shake hands and why the heck they
Yeah.
don't do it? We're gonna have another year of that.
Guys who
yeah,
are
and then-
poor
'cause
sports.
Because then the Bucks
Hey, it brings
lost to-
entertainment. I'll take it.
Well, then Tampa lost to the Rams last year, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, and he wouldn't shake hands with Goff. He just went straight to the locker room.
that's right. 'cause-
Says a lot about Goff.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't throw a bigger hissy fit. If I was a quarterback like Tom Brady and I lost to Jared Goff, I'd be like, what the hell?
See, one thing about Brady that I do admire is his fire. He has such intensity for the game of football, and he's always had that.
Yeah,
Yes,
but like
there are
still,
points
I
of
feel
it
like it's
that
sometimes
is
to a fault a bit,
right.
though.
So I agree with
yeah.
that, but it is something that I do admire about him in his game. Like the Bucks wouldn't have gotten to where they got to win the chip if it wasn't for those growing pains early.
I mean, 100%. Here's my thing with the Bucks. The Bucks better enjoy winning now because there's like the moment Tom Brady retires, that team is
Kyle Trask future.
I mean, that's the thing. This team is, they're good right now, and they will be for the next year or two. But then after that, I mean, Brady's got 2 years, maybe 3.
Do you know what their GM said? What was that today?
He's
or
gonna
yesterday?
play till 50. There's no
play till
way
50.
he plays till 50.
No way in heck.
I mean, I guess I don't know. He probably could. He's like freaking Superman, but
I'm telling you, there's no way Giselle's gonna let him play till 50.
No way. No way.
I think
he's gonna be like, if he wins another one, if he wins another one this year, I'm telling you, she's gonna be like, dude, you got
8. You're done.
That's enough.
I mean,
he's got. Wait, is this one more year in the contract? It is, right?
Yeah.
One more year. Yeah.
After this one.
Oh yeah, so 2 more.
2 technically, because they gave him a 1-year extension, I believe.
Yeah. Yes, they did. Yeah.
So yeah, he's got 2 more years basically, and I assume after that he'll be done. So then after that, I mean, forget Brady. Just look at the rest of the team. This team's pretty old. I mean, let's be real.
I mean, there are pieces on defense that are very young, but by the point Brady's contract is over, that team's going to be old.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And so they're going to be really good the next couple of years. But then after that, I don't know. I wouldn't really put too much stock in them because I don't think it'll last. But
yep. Let's talk about Chargers Chiefs. This was one of the best games last year in the regular season. Definitely a top 20 game, maybe even top 10. This battle is going to be great for the next decade, and we get to see it again 2 times. What does Herbert have to do to beat Patrick Mahomes in this meeting?
I don't really think it's what he has to do. I think it's more what the defense has to do.
Right.
But, I think Herbert, really more than anything, you'd think that you got to get in this like firework match and go for all these deep plays and try and get the ball out and really move the ball. I think when you're going against a team like Kansas City, I think you got to take your time.
You got to slow it down. Yeah.
Yeah. Take that Mercedes out and go 20 miles an hour down Front Street in Lahaina, just, just really, really marinate it. Like the less time you have Mahomes on the field, the less time you have your defense on the field trying to stop that madman and Tyreek and Kelsey and all them, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
He's going to have a full-time role this year, by the way. Really excited for Clyde.
Yeah. The less time you have to deal with that for your defense, the better. Because the Chargers defense is interesting.
It hinges on that secondary, man. It hinges on that secondary.
Like, this defense could either be really good or really trash.
Derwin James has got to stay healthy, man. That's it. He just got to stay healthy. And hope he does.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's especially when you got a guy like Tyreek running all over the place like a madman. You gotta have a full secondary. So we'll see. But
speaking of fast players, DK Metcalf this weekend.
Yeah.
Dang.
I really want to see other NFL players do that.
I wonder if Tyreek can get better than 8.
Or forget 8, just do 10.36.
I think he could actually beat some of those. I think he could make the trials.
Tyreek?
Yeah.
That speed
Yeah, that
potentially,
guy's
yeah.
fast.
Yeah.
I mean, we've never seen anything like that in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, he's at more of a size and weight for
Track.
yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas
Well, like,
DK, I mean,
yeah.
he's to quote
Buff.
Booger McFarland, he's one biscuit away from being a tight end. So
I mean,
but
like, I was talking to, I was like talking to my friends, and we were talking about it, and the fact that even before he ran, everybody was doubting him, and I'm like, bro, this guy's fast. He's at least gonna run. He's at least gonna give them a race.
And he did.
He gave them a race. Like, yeah, he gave him last, but
Yeah. Back to the Chiefs too, real quick. Shane, to sort of piggyback off your point, that's kind of what I didn't like about Drew Lock last year against the Chiefs. He just kept kind of pushing it and pushing these deep balls and stuff like that. So yeah, I think at some level you are correct, but you do need to have a few of those deep balls go your way to beat this team. I think ultimately.
yeah. Somebody just sent me this meme, and it's that picture of DK where he's like just super jacked, and he's like, this one,
Yeah, it's such a great photo.
and it says, Judge DK, you got to run your qualifier. DK, I qualify. Judge, see you at the Olympics.
I qualify.
All
right, let's speed through this now. Let's try to kind of go through some of that or some of these other games on the schedule. Let's see. What are your guys' expectations for Washington this year? Brandon, you start first because your guy Ryan Fitzpatrick is the starter.
Well, obviously that just immediately makes them just god tier. Like they're immediately going to be the best ever. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's the best. He wins everybody games. He's untouchable. He is better than Tom Brady.
Oh,
that's bold.
Oh,
that is bold.
I mean, I agree. No,
he is the true GOAT. No, I think
I'm actually excited for Washington with Fitzpatrick because I like this defense.
No, I do think Washington is going to be fairly good. I think Skip Bayless better watch out because I think Washington is going to be a threat to his precious Cowboys.
Cowboys.
I really hope that we don't have the same scenario we had last year where every week I was complaining about the NFC East.
I feel like that's going to happen again. Shane, do you?
Well, I mean, the thing is, like, yeah, I think the NFC East will still be not great and pretty competitive, at least between three of the teams. I don't think Philly's really going to make much noise this year, but
unless Joe Flacco starts.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Never mind. I mean, Super Bowl champions if that happens. No. But I think to me there are four teams in the NFL. And I'll name them off. And I'll let you guess what they have in common, okay? Washington, Chicago, Denver, and what's the other one? Crap. Miami.
No franchise quarterback, I guess technically Tua, but
complete teams who
without a guy that they feel confident in.
Right. And you could argue that Miami feels confident in Tua, I guess.
Can we say that they are 60% confident in Tua after last year?
Yeah.
It's
not. And then Chicago, I think they do feel confident in their guy. But, I mean, to be fair, they haven't they don't know yet because they haven't seen Justin Fields yet. So, like, to me, all 4 of those teams are legit playoff contenders if they can get their guy. And I mean, Fitzpatrick, I like him more than the average person. I don't like him quite as much as Brennan. But I don't necessarily, I don't know if I see him carrying this team to the playoffs. Like, I think he definitely could.
That division,
that's the thing.
Maybe the Giants have a case, but it all depends on Daniel Jones, and I can't make that assumption right now. So maybe we get to, like, again, I'm at like week 5 here, so let's say like week 6 or 7. If Daniel Jones actually plays at a level, they can win that division.
Yeah.
And they can probably win it in 10 games. They could probably, get 10, 11 wins. But if that doesn't work out, I think it's Washington and no one else. I don't even think Dallas has the talent, but we know what Dallas is.
Right. And I think that the things that are really going to elevate Fitzpatrick is, like you said, the division. And also just that roster in general at Washington.
I think that defense is that's what set them apart last year. That's going to set them apart this year in that division.
Well, not only that, but I think they do have some legit pieces on offense too. I think it's just a matter of, can Ryan Fitzpatrick stay in there for the whole season? I mean,
he should. He's got the job.
Yeah, no, but I mean, as far as age, is he gonna become like Big Ben and kind of tinker off towards the end and get tired and not do as well? We'll see. Worst comes to worst, they do have Taylor Heineke, who is.
He signed a 3-year deal, didn't he? He signed a 4-year deal.
Yeah, who's not amazing, but I mean, he, at least keeps them competitive, and he's young and fast, so it'd be a good kind of boost for them, I guess.
I don't want to see him come in and play, though. I don't think.
No, I know, but I'm just saying he's always there. But at the end of the day, I mean, all things considered, I do think they're in a good position. I don't know that they're Super Bowl contenders necessarily, but they are definitely my favorite. Them or New York, depending on Daniel Jones.
So Lamar Jackson.
Yes.
Reports are that they are focused on him getting a contract. They focus on that contract extension. Brandon, do you think it is right that they should be focused on a really long-term and big money extension for Lamar? Brandon, are you there? I guess
I'll take that as a maybe.
Mic drop. Shane, what are your thoughts on that?
Lamar, that is a huge rabbit. What the heck? Sorry, there's a rabbit.
You have a rabbit inside your house?
No, outside my window. Jeez, that is ginormous. Sorry. Anyways, Lamar. So
they're in talks right now.
Yeah.
And Lamar doesn't have an agent.
Really?
No, he does not. So that's part of this equation as well.
Wow, I did not know that. That's strange. Well, regardless, Lamar is weird for me because I think his ceiling is really high, but he's so inconsistent that it, like,
throwing the ball, of course.
I mean, yeah, because he seems to do his best work when Harbaugh takes the reins off and lets him run and improvise and do all of his crazy stuff. But that's not really...
It's not sustainable. We talked about this last year.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen this time and time again from different quarterbacks. he's got to be able to, as he ages, he's got to be able to throw and stay in the pocket. And I mean, to me, so far, he just hasn't proven that he can do that. Like we saw him at the beginning of last year try to be more of a pocket guy and just throw more, and it was kind of ugly. I mean, let's be honest, it was not that great. I mean, Baltimore was struggling. It wasn't until later on in the year when they kind of let him just do his thing again, where he was running around like a psycho, and then they started doing good again. So, I mean, if that's how they want to use him, then sure, great, sign the deal. But I mean, I would be hesitant to do that because I mean, like I said, I don't think that's sustainable. So with that in mind, I mean, thinking long term here, personally, I I don't know that I'd be re-signing him to a giant long-term deal.
Well, if you
Personally.
aren't, if Baltimore ain't, someone is, right? That's just the
I mean,
reality.
yeah.
But also, there are a couple things at play here. It has taken them a while to figure this out. And part of that is because he doesn't have an agent. Because they can kind of, as Mike Florio
That's just
talked about.
bizarre to me. I don't like it. How do you not?
Bobby
anyways.
Wagner there's a couple like Seahawks guys who don't have there's always players on teams that don't have agents.
Okay, yeah, but I mean, you're like an MVP star quarterback, cover of Madden, doing all like. How
Cover
do you
of
not have an
A
agent?
bad Madden game.
Okay, yeah, but
sorry.
still, like, how do you not have an agent when you're like that? Just
I mean, to be
I
fair, a
know.
10% cut of like $3 million isn't the best, but whatever.
Wow,
But
yeah.
whatever. So that's part of it too. The other part is I think they are having those discussions of, okay, you realize we'll have to pay this guy $40 million. And it's have to be a super long-term deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that all those points are what they're thinking about in the offices in Baltimore today. Because there's something about this contract that's so bizarre to me. Because if it's gonna get done, it's really gonna get done this offseason, or they're gonna have to, like, it's got to get done like in June, and I don't know if they're gonna exactly do that.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think they like him and they want him to stay. But it just goes back to my whole thing of, my $25 million quarterback cap.
Right. But there's something to be said about the worries on longevity, which you guys have pointed out, and they're reasonable. That's the issue, is that he goes down, it's covered by insurance, whatever. But I mean, that's still a good chunk of your cap. Yeah, insurance is paying for it, but the owner can worry about that. But you're still got to worry about that with the cap room.
Yeah.
So, and even so, there's injury guarantees in a contract and all these bits and pieces. I don't know. Brandon, you there? You good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll have you talk about the Steelers then. So we'll go from the rivals of the Ravens to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Big Ben, this will be his last year, I would imagine. Is there a ceiling for the Steelers? Are they a playoff team?
No.
Why not in your mind?
Because it's pretty much the same team. And they didn't really do much to change it. Like,
they won 11 straight games last year.
Yeah, but they crashed and burned really hard.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say they're a playoff contender, but not like a legitimate team, I guess.
Let's look at this division. We like the Browns better than them.
Yeah.
Right now. Brandon, you agree with that?
Yeah.
We like the Ravens better than them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Cincy, whatever. But like
And then
that
Cincy is depressed.
with no O-line. But yeah, I mean, honestly,
Jamar Chase.
yeah, that receiving core is going to be fun if only Burrow can stay upright, which is the worry. But Brandon, finish up. So, it is mostly the same team. Yeah, they lost Devin Bush and all that, but Big Ben, you feel like is going to hold them back a lot as well. Yeah, I feel that too. Shane, you feel the same way with that?
Yeah, I mean he'll, assuming he's not injured in week 2 like he usually is.
Mason Rudolph time.
Like deformed head time. No, I'm sorry.
No.
No, they'll, he'll start out good and he'll be looking great, and then about Halloween or so, they'll all of a sudden they'll be like, "Oh, what happened to Big Ben?" And then before you know it, they crash and burn, like Brennan said, and then here we are. We're
looking
at them.
for a new quarterback in the draft.
Yeah.
Tennessee's really interesting. They were talking about this on NFL Live on ESPN yesterday, and it's a really compelling argument about the Titans. This could be a Ryan Tannehill regression year. This really could be, because their only feasible weapon is A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry could also be looking at a regression point after an amazing 2,000-yard season. And they don't have their OC. Smith is now in the ATL with Atlanta. This could be a regression point for the Titans because they've lost a lot more pieces than they've gained.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest. I think Tannehill looked a lot better in the last couple of years than he actually was, just because of that system and that offense. I think he'll still be fine, but I just don't. I don't think he'll be like a Pro Bowl guy anymore.
Like Pro Bowl means anything anymore.
You know what I mean. Just because, let's be honest. He's like he has good accuracy, and he's mildly athletic. But outside of that, he's kind of limited. I feel like a lot of his throws and decisions are, just kind of aided by the play design and just kind of knowing where to go based off of that. And he's not, he doesn't have the strongest arm either. So I don't know. Basically at the end of the day, I just think he has a low ceiling.
I think that's partially because they just lost so many pieces. Like, it's going to be hard for that offense, at least in the past.
In general, just as a player.
Mm-hmm.
I think he just has kind of a low ceiling. To me, he's a lot like Matt Ryan. Like, he's not bad. He's pretty accurate. But he's just, his ceiling is pretty low. He just, I don't know. We'll see though. Because then there's also the question of, is Derrick Henry going to regress? Because playing running back the way he does only lasts so long when you're that physical. So,
all right, from NewJerseyBetting.com or NewJersey.com, their betting site, New Orleans over under win total for the New Orleans Saints 9. Brandon, you go first. What do you think? Over under 9 wins, New Orleans Saints.
Under.
Shane.
I'd say that's about right.
Over or under?
9. Over.
Over. Interesting.
Like 1. Like 10-7.
Okay. Why do you think
I
they
would
have
say.
to get 10 wins? I'm just so worried about the quarterback situation.
I mean, I know, but like the rest of the team is still there for the most part. You know what I mean? And like, regardless of who's quarterback, they both, I think, offer something that could be beneficial. And I mean, let's look at the last 2 years. They are they 8-0 with backup quarterbacks, or 9-0? I mean, or like 8-1 or
I
something
think they're
crazy.
like 8-1. Yeah. But I mean,
I mean,
of that
statistically
too.
speaking, they're
Most of that was with Teddy B too, because Teddy B went 5-0 that year.
well, still they went whatever 3-1 or 4-0 with Taysom Hill. You know, granted the schedule was somewhat easy for those games, but still, I mean, it's not like it's not like they lost every game, or like they struggled in a bunch of them or something. Like they looked fine, So I don't worry too much. I mean, yeah, I think they get a little worse, not having Breeze, obviously, but like I don't think it's as big a deal as people are acting like it is.
Brandon, why did you go under?
I just don't feel like this team is going to be amazing, but I don't think they're gonna be terrible. So I'm thinking like 8 wins.
Am I weird to say 5?
I don't know. I definitely get a
Maybe a
5.
little. Why?
I definitely get a 5. I can see where you're coming from, but I don't think 5 is appropriate.
Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill. Now, granted, I don't think either of them have necessarily gotten a fair chance to show their skills under a Sean Payton system. But again, that's going to be the biggest conversation for us throughout the summer once we hit training camp is who's going to actually start. Presumably it's going to be Winston, but it could be Taysom because we know how Sean Payton loves him some Taysom Hill. If it is Winston, though, I mean, we know what Winston is. We know he's that interception machine and all that stuff. And I don't know if that will be the case in New Orleans. But again, if that's the case, there's no way they get over 5. But I don't even know if that's fair to say he's that player because this system is much different. But I just look at it and say, I don't even see. I see New Orleans also playing a bunch of these really high profile games, and I go, yeah, they're not going to be that fun next year. They're just not.
Well, I don't know that they're going to be fun, but I mean, if you have a roster that wins 13 games just because they lose the quarterback, I don't think that reduces them down to 5.
The Cowboys had a good
I
roster,
mean,
and they were crap without Dak.
I don't
I don't know if that's a
wouldn't say
great
that they had a good
example.
roster. I mean, they had no defense.
Yeah.
New Orleans, on the other hand, has a pretty good defense. I
Yeah.
mean, probably not as amazing as last year, but still top 10 at least. I mean, I don't know. I just think people are overreacting a little bit. No, they're not going to be great, but I think that they'll still be fine.
Are they a playoff team?
Well, I mean, let's think about the NFC. I think Tampa's the 1 seed. This is as of right now. Things could change, obviously, based off of whatever other free agent moves are made.
We're basically done with free agency at this point, but either way.
Yeah. But as of right now, I think Tampa's the 1.
So Seattle's there.
Are we saying that Aaron Rodgers is in Denver or Green Bay?
Green Bay.
Okay. So Seattle's one, I think, or Tampa's one. I think Seattle's.
I kind of am. I
Seattle's
weird
two.
to say? Am I weird to say based on where the NFC could stand, particularly without Aaron Rodgers, the Seahawks have something that I think in the NFC West they can not easily win that division, but they're clearly the best team in that division, and I'm not afraid to say they're a Super Bowl contender right now.
I mean,
I wasn't there in the beginning of the offseason, but if you look at the landscape of the NFC, it's hard not to say otherwise.
I mean, most people right now have the Seahawks as a third place team in the NFC West, and I think they're out of their minds. Like
A third place team in the NFC West.
Yeah, and I think
That's
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I think they are. And I'm not saying this like to be biased.
I think we're all saying it objectively. Like for
I
me,
think they're
at the
clearly number one in the NFC West.
At the beginning of the offseason, like I still feel like the Seahawks have this wild card kryptonite thing. But I mean, that's there. I look at the NFC, and obviously we'll take a more closer look as we get closer to the season, and my opinion might change. I feel pretty swayed with Seattle, but right now, I'm not afraid to say they're a Super Bowl contender. I'm just not.
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning of the offseason, I liked LA a little bit more because they got Matt Stafford and they still had all their pieces, but they've lost a lot of guys since then.
Defensively, they're going to be weaker.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, they have Stafford, and I'm still, I still believe in him, but to me, yeah, they gain him, which makes them better, but then they lose all the defense. So to me, they are just kind of the same as they were last year, really.
And the Niners, they got to figure out the quarterback situation before we can say anything.
Yeah. So
in Arizona, I like Arizona, but there's a cap on Arizona. I thought they'd be a playoff team. Maybe they can be a playoff team this year, but I think that division is just going to knock them out.
Yeah. So, okay. So anyways, back on topic. I think you have Tampa 1, Seattle 2, Green Bay 3, or like Green Bay 2, Seattle 3, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then 4, probably Washington. Then after that, I think you have, I think you have, in no particular order, Chicago.
LA,
yeah, Chicago, LA, and New Orleans as the 3 wild cards. I mean, if you're just looking at the NFC. So,
are we missing anyone? I don't know if we're missing anyone there. Brandon, what's your reaction to that?
I don't know why you have Chicago in there because they haven't proven anything.
Yeah.
Well,
you're hopeful they start Justin Fields and that's meaningful.
You're assuming.
I mean, yeah,
a lot. I say.
Well, you gotta hope that Fields actually starts in like 6 weeks.
Yeah, but
or sooner.
I'm not 100% certain that Justin Fields is going to start and be like.
I don't think they're even planning for him to start after week 10.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, you forget that with the way the playoffs are now, all you really need to be a 7 seed and to make it in is like 8-8, or I guess probably 9-7 this year, or 9-8. I mean,
yeah.
It's gonna be weird to get used to those records anyway.
Yeah, I don't like it, but that's beside the point. Because the Bears, they made it last year with Trubisky.
Barely.
Okay. Yeah, barely, but barely.
Yeah.
No, but they still made it though with Trubisky. Okay, they still have that pretty solid defense. They're getting older, but they're still there. And they have some really good pieces on offense. I mean, even if it is Dalton for most of the season, I think he's clearly a step over Trubisky.
Well, yeah, but it's not massive.
No, but I mean, he is a step above him. So by that logic, I don't see why they wouldn't be the 7th seed at least.
Yeah.
Because yeah. But anyways, that would be my. Now, if Aaron Rodgers ends up in Denver,
Denver.
let's say, then it's a different story. Then I don't know what the hell Green Bay does or what they look like. But
I think if
we'll burn
Aaron
that bridge when
Rodgers,
we get to it.
if Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay, I think Green Bay doesn't make the playoffs at all.
No, I think they
Yeah.
only win like 5 games. So according to NewJersey.com, here are the highest over/under win totals. Buffalo Bills 10.5.
Over.
Well, no, I'm not saying over/under. I'm just saying here's the highest. Cleveland Browns 10.
They go really conservative, don't they?
Well, that's kind of the point. It's an over/under. Ravens 11. Cowboys is at 9, which I guess. Colts at 10. Rams at 10. Over/under. Chiefs at 12. Over/under.
What's the NFC West? I'm curious.
So NFC West, Seahawks at 9.5.
No.
Niners at 10. I feel like the Seahawks should at least be at 10.5. But
Hey, so
How
this is
are
what I
you
mean.
gonna-
Everybody has the Rams
Yeah.
and the Niners over the Seahawks. I think
Like-
they're all a bunch of idiots.
yeah.
Especially when they just
Sorry, Brandon, go ahead.
especially when they just stacked their pass rush.
Yeah. And then the Bucks, the champs at 11.5. So that's like the highest.
The Saints are 9, you said?
Yes. I don't know how updated this is, but this is the line that they have.
What are the Bears?
The Bears line is 7.5.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's low.
You think that's low?
Oh yeah. I'd say, well, yeah, I'd say probably 9 for them personally.
Mm-hmm. Brandon, your Miami Dolphins are at, let me look at this. I believe they're at 9. Yeah, 9.
I'd say that's about right. Maybe 10.
What's New England?
New England, again, I'm not sure how updated this is. New England 9.5.
Interesting. What's Jacksonville?
I think okay, I'll give you the lowest because it's funny. Texans 4. Lions 5. Kneecap team 5. So that's like the lowest. Where's Jacksonville? My apologies. Where is the Florida guys? Jacksonville 6.5.
Okay. Yeah.
Bengals 6.5 as well. Cardinals.
Yeah, I mean,
8.
like
NewJersey.com over/under
Jacksonville, I think will be
as of May 10th.
Offensively, I think Jacksonville is going to be pretty good. It's their defense that I worry about. Or not even pretty good, but competitive, I should say.
There are some updated ones, but that one is from 2 days ago. Perfect segue for the Chicago Bears. Brandon, you agreed with me. This Thanksgiving schedule is trash.
Yeah.
It's garbage.
It is not good.
There's nothing interesting here. 0. Shane, do you agree?
Can we move Thanksgiving to a different day?
No Thursday?
No, I mean like a different week with better Thursday night games. Dang it.
I guess. Yeah. Again, the Thursday night schedule isn't that impressive. Browns.
Why do the Thanksgiving games always suck?
Because
There's usually one good one every year.
No, there's like one good one every 3 years.
Problem is they have to put the Cowboys in there, and they suck.
And the Lions.
And the Lions.
And the Lions suck.
But they can, but they like this nightcap game, which is usually the one that everyone's excited for, is not that good.
Yeah, and the
Mhm.
nightcap game last year was not that good.
What was the nightcap game last year? Was like Falcons Saints again, I
Something
believe.
like that.
Yeah, or I forgot exactly what it was. And then Browns Ravens should be great, and then Seattle at Washington. So it's actually a good like end of the week slate there.
Yeah.
Let's see. We'll continue to sort of speed along here. We're getting close to the Christmas games as well and all that stuff, so we'll talk about those slates a bit more in depth. Cowboys Saints are always a really fun Thursday night game. I'm not gonna lie, they've played some good Thursday nighters in recent years. They really have.
You're not wrong.
They really, or at least what was that 2 years ago? So we're going through
Much as I like to trash Dallas,
I mean, I don't know. Again, the talent on that team is pretty good, but it's not about the talent for them.
yeah.
What do you think the week having an extra week and having week 18? How do you think that's going to affect these teams and the fact that the Super Bowl is in mid-February? How do you both feel like that's going to change things this year?
The extra, I don't know, it's just another game for greedy owners to get more wealthy, and
Right, but what does that mean for the players and the coaches?
I'm getting there, and for players to risk getting injured, which they don't need for a game that they don't really need to play, when they're really just want to get ready for the playoffs, and the coaches having to create another game plan that they maybe don't want to do. Yeah, this benefits 32 people and 32 people only, and that is the owners of the NFL.
MVP Roger Goodell.
And and my favorite person on the planet, Roger Goodell. So,
And Fox, CBS, and all those executives.
Okay, so maybe like 38 people, but other than that, I don't want the extra game. The players don't want it. The coaches don't want it. So I don't like. It just is so obviously a money grab that it's painful. Like, I don't know. I just don't. I just don't. Other than for money, I just don't see the point of it.
Mm-hmm. Brandon, what are your thoughts? If you were a player in the NFL, what would be your thoughts about this schedule?
Oh man, actually might be kind of. I think for one thing, it's actually pretty spread out. Like I think players kind of get a good. Nobody's playing back to back to back to back.
Yeah.
Like in the past, it's been like.
So there's like more flexibility.
The same team playing on Thursday night, like week after week after week.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll talk also about some of these Saturday games. So here it is. In week 15, 2 of the 5 designated matchups will be played on Saturday with the remainder on Sunday. And then week 18, the final week of the season, 2 games will be played on Saturday with the remainder to be played on Saturday afternoon. And of course, 1 matchup will be played on Sunday Night Football. That will be announced after the conclusion of week 17. Out of these games, which two sounds the most fun for Saturday night? Brandon, what you go first? What sounds the most fun to you?
Probably Patriots, Colts, and Panthers, Bills.
Shane, what about you?
Yeah, I'd say Patriots, Colts.
Yeah, I like Raiders, Browns a little bit.
Yeah.
It could be. Actually, yeah, no, that's probably a blowout. I really don't like the Raiders this year.
Overall, you don't like them this year.
I don't feel good about them at all. I think they win 5-6 games, maybe.
So is it mostly just because of Gruden and how they've drafted in recent years with Mayock?
I mean, the defense is getting worse. They lost some key pieces on offense. I don't know. They just kind of seem to be hanging on by a thread, and I don't like that.
Yeah. They have drafted pretty horribly in recent years. We'll see what happens with Leatherwood. Week 16. Week 16. So here are Christmas slates. So Niners Titans on Thursday Night Football, only on NFL Network actually. Saturday, Fox has the afternoon game, Browns Packers. Assuming that Aaron stays, that's a pretty good one. And Colts Cardinals. But Brandon, overall, you weren't too happy about the Christmas Day, especially if Aaron leaves.
Yeah, it was kind of boring.
Yeah. Shane, do you feel the same way about Christmas Day?
I mean, yeah, but I don't really care because I'll be honest, I don't watch football on Christmas Day because we always go to my aunt's house and they don't have like a ginormous TV for me to watch it in the living room where we all hang out. So, you know, I like when they say, "Oh, it's gonna be a boring game like this," I'm kind of like, okay, whatever.
Yeah, I will say that I do feel like this could potentially be one of those where basketball is more interesting, which it
Yeah.
usually is. Washington and Dallas, of course, we kind of spoke about that. And then Dolphins Saints could be quite interesting, I guess, but not the best for that Christmas slate. Let's see. And then, so week 16. Week 17, which was our final week last year. Now, of course, we're moving up that 1 week, as we talked about. Let's see. So I think I think they don't have Thursday night this week, so they only have that Monday night. Browns Steelers, of course. I think that's gonna be fun because, of course, they just go at Browns Steelers is the closest thing you get to a WWE match. You know,
True.
so
AFC North games are always just really fun.
yeah, mostly
Especially
because
when
they're
they're good.
very physical.
Yeah.
But other than that, not too much there. And then week 18. So I wonder how they're going to do the scheduling because, of course, it's going to depend on sort of where the playoff brackets are. But it'll be interesting to see how they can make something compelling for Saturday with some of this as well. That's going to be interesting to see, of course, all divisional matchups there. So we'll see what occurs there, but I am really interested to see how they're going to play Saturday into the fold. How are they going to have because, of course, they're going to have that winner go home at Sunday Night Football game or close to it. But how they do Saturday should be quite interesting. But other than that, I think we're pretty good. Is there any other individual team schedules you wanted to look at before we head out?
Not that I can think of.
I don't believe so. I think we covered most of the bigger stories from the schedule release. Brandon, anything in specific you want to take a look at?
Nope.
Yeah. I don't think the Sunday and Monday night schedules are that impressive, unfortunately. But that just goes with them sort of scheduling, the Packers or a few of these teams sort of in some of these weird slots. But of course, a lot of that's projection. So we'll see what occurs as we get closer to the regular season. Steelers Cowboys, I believe, is the Hall of Fame game, if I'm not mistaken. Not that I think we'll really care about the preseason. But
I
Brandon,
forgot the Hall of Fame game was a thing.
well, didn't have it last year.
Yeah.
Brandon, do you feel like, Shane, that with this 18-game schedule, with the 3 or I guess in some cases 4 preseason games, injuries could still be very much a concern this year.
Yeah, I mean, despite the
Mhm.
preseason, because I mean, it seems, it might seem dumb, only one extra game, but I mean, this is a game where every second, every inch really does matter. Every time you step on that field, you are truly risking a career-ending injury.
Yeah.
So, less time you have to spend playing a hard-fought game, the better. Especially when you want your guys in the playoffs where things actually go down. So,
Yeah. Brandon, any more thoughts on sort of the injury concerns? I know you're always really big on that. Do you feel like that's a
Nope.
even bigger concern with the schedule?
Nope.
Not too
No
much.
concerns.
You're not too worried, of course, with sort of how they're gonna flex it and all that.
Nope.
All right. Do you guys want to play rock paper scissors? I know we're like
Not really.
yeah,
behind.
who what was that? Nick Soriani? Was that who it was?
Yeah. Brandon beat me in our
All
competition.
right, let's go,
2
Robert,
weeks.
right now.
You and me now?
Yeah, we're doing 1, 2, 3 shoot, right?
Yeah, but you probably should be playing Brandon because I lost.
I should.
Yeah. Brandon, are you down to do it or am I subbing in?
You're subbing in.
I'm subbing in? Okay. Shoot, let's go.
Okay.
Right. This is to determine who's the most competitive according to Nick Sirianni.
Of course.
Right.
Okay. Rock. Wait. Okay, I'll count down. I'll go 1, 2, 3, and then we'll go. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
There we go.
You
Rock.
cheated. You were behind me.
No, I wasn't behind you. This is Zoom rock, paper, scissors. It's not perfect.
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
What'd you have?
We tied. Oh, sorry. 1, 2, 3. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Hey, you cheated again.
No, I did not.
It's
did you have
rigged.
paper?
I'm leaving.
Robert is the champion.
Not entirely, but at least semi. At least I'm the most competitive between me and Shane, according to the Eagles staff. I don't know, whatever. Freaking Eagles, man. Jesus.
Somehow.
I love how that's the thing that we're most interested with the Eagles, other than Jalen Hurts, which we'll get to at a later time.
There's nothing else to get excited about for them.
No,
It's a grim time in Philly.
It really is.
unfortunately. All right, well, that's it for today. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Brandon. We will not have a show on Friday, but we will be back next Friday more than likely. So we will see you all then. Have a great rest of the week, everybody.